Dogs are often hailed as man's best friend, one of the most cherished companions that people know. However, the experiences that these animals face don't often reflect this nickname. People view dogs in various ways, some as an occupational tool, others as an assistant to humans, or sometimes just for entertainment or friendship. All of these people can attest to the emotional, conscious, and vocal aspects of dogs, but it sadly does not stop them from experiencing mistreatment. Despite the universal love for dogs, people still abuse, neglect, and abandon them by the millions every year. Why is this? If people agree that dogs are so cherished, why do these events still occur? As seen in the green criminology field, harms are often the effect of a chain reaction, and the abuse and neglect of dogs is no different. American psychologist John Dollard pioneered frustration aggression theory. It states that frustration stems from a lack of met desires and aggression naturally follows it. In these cases, these desires could be safety or proper care, so lack of these could lead to aggression towards your dog. For example, kids facing abuse at home or adults who are angered by their lives are at risk of taking this aggression out in multiple forms of animal abuse. Multiple studies support this idea, stating that those who cause harm to others are more likely to harm animals. Studies like the one done by R. Luke and Company, as well as Cleary and Company, put forward evidence about what makes it easier to bring harm to dogs. Internal factors aren't the only ones that matter, however. McCarthy discusses labeling theory, which explains that certain labels make it easier for people to act within the scripts associated with them. Therefore, when certain dog breeds are labeled as dangerous or disgusting or even harmful, it makes it easier for people to bring abuse and neglect towards them. In the discussion of neglect and abuse, it's important to acknowledge that these things can stem from other sources as well. For example, the neglect of dogs often stems from an underestimation of dog care. Despite labeling them as companions, many people don't take enough time to consider if they have the ability to care for a dog at the moment, leading to an increased risk of neglect and abandonment. Both of these are extremely negative outcomes for dogs, as without proper care, they're vulnerable to disease, depression and anxiety, as well as general discomfort. Additionally, if a dog ends up at a shelter due to neglect or abandonment, it could mean the end of their life. Many shelters are more willing to normalize euthanization than to revamp shelters for strays, as it is more convenient than keeping them housed and fed. In a paper written by Marcos Amaku, as well as others in the field, there is a discussion on ways to deal with the stray population. They mention a couple key details. Firstly, there are many talks amongst shelters about how to maximize either euthanization or the sterilization of stray dogs to control their populations. This discussion speaks volumes of the willingness to abandon the idea of care for dogs. Secondly, the paper goes on to mention how there are factors that go beyond these solutions. This is a clear sign that something must be done about the current method of dealing with stray populations. After all, is this any way to talk about man's so called best friends? The existing literature puts forth multiple elements that lead to a natural conclusion. It is absolutely necessary to reevaluate how we feel about dogs, as the current pitfalls that they experience are so harmful. In Chapter 7 of their Green Criminology book, White and Heckenberg discuss how humans view and categorize animals. These categories go forward to inform how the harm animals experience matters to us. However, these categorizations vary depending on different countries, states, and even cities. As they apply to dogs as well, this means that there are few universal safeties that dogs are guaranteed. As they are animals we put so much emotional value on, this can't be right. If we want to have a proper relationship with dogs, a few things must change. Firstly, to protect dogs, there must be some sort of screening for potential dog owners. It seems like a silly idea, but as evidence has shown, those who experience mental turmoil can bring harms to dogs much easier. Therefore, ensuring that dogs are being taken in by the more responsible people is a protection for them. Secondly, as all animals need, there must be a more objective legislature to protect them. If the laws are often subjective and changing, then it makes it easier for dogs to fall through the cracks within the law. Finally, we must dismantle the anthropocentric way that we view dogs. Chapter 7 of the same book mentions that the harms and feelings we have towards dogs vary depending on the role that they fill. Some harms and abuses are customary in some of these contexts, like dogfighting. If we continue to view dogs as tools to get jobs done, then there's no possible way that we can fully protect them. The main conclusion that my analysis has brought me towards is that viewing animals in our current, human focused way only opens more gateways of harm towards them. If animals are our companions to the level that we claim, then why don't we consider their needs, care, and safety like we would our own children, family, or peers? Although not all people are capable of bringing harm to dogs like this, it's bad enough that anybody is. Issues of animal abuse, euthanization, neglect, and abandonment are taken seriously, but not seriously enough. As human beings, we will always be the ones who have the mental faculties to know when our dogs are hurting. This means that we have a unique responsibility to take care of them, listen to them, and provide for them. Despite what many may think, dogs are beautiful, emotional, and feeling creatures, which means that preventing any further harm to them must be a top priority. If someone were to call you their best friend, wouldn't you want their behaviors and words to reflect that? As human beings, we can no longer address dogs so endearingly while staying blind to the suffering that many of us cause them. A failure to reevaluate the relationship that we share is what facilitates this abuse that they face every year. This is not a condemnation of current dog owners that do right by their dogs, but it is a call to action to those same people to help others find the way to treat their dogs with love and care.